Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today, let's talk about a 2002 romance and betrayal movie. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe to help the channel out. Our story is set on the life of Connie and Edward, a happily married couple who lives in the suburban part of their city, with their little son Charlie. Edward is the manager of his successful trucking company, while Connie is a saleswoman. In the beginning of the movie, we see Connie preparing her son for school, while her husband is also ready to take him to school. When they go out, they see it's really windy outside, so Edward asks Connie if she would be going out as she planned. Connie says she would be going out, so Charlie reminds her to get him his favorite jersey for his birthday. Later on, we see Connie returning back from the mall with some groceries and gifts for Charlie, but it's a really windy day. While making her way through the streets, she collides with a man carrying a bunch of books. His name is Paul. When they are done picking up their stuffs, Connie begs Paul to help her get a taxi, so he tries to get one, but no taxi could stop because of the heavy wind. While they are trying to make small talks, Paul notices Connie's injury from her fall, so he offers her some bandage from his apartment, which coincidentally is the one they are standing in front of. When they get in, Connie sees a lot of books at Paul's apartment, so she asks him if he's into writing of books. Paul replies that he isn't a writer, but he's just a guy who loves to collect books. He directs Connie to his bathroom, and then she finds band-aids to treat her wounds. When Connie comes out, Paul offers her some tea, and then she asks to use his phone to call her son who's in school. While making the call, Paul offers her some ice, but slightly trying to be touchy with her. When she tries leaving, Paul offers her a book from his collection. Days later, we see Connie checking out the book Paul gave her, and then his complimentary card falls out. She picks it up, and then calls him up while heading for work the next day. When he picks, she thanks him for what he did the last time, and then he invites her over for coffee at his place. When she gets there, they both converse for a while about their interest in great books, and then Paul tries to get touchy with her again. Seeing that she's already crossed the line, she offers to take her leave, in order to avoid cheating on her husband. While at home with her family, Connie finds it difficult to get Paul out of her mind. Seeing that she's already falling for Paul, she goes back to his place the next day, but this time she brings him lunch. She hears an African folk music playing on his stereo, so Paul offers to dance with her, to which she agrees. While dancing, Connie finds herself crossing the line again, so she tries to leave the apartment. She comes back into the house to get her coat, but Paul sweeps her off the ground and takes her to his room. She struggles with him at the beginning, but then she finally lets go, and then they both get intimate. Afterwards, we are shown a montage of Connie's frequent visit to Paul's apartment, while also getting intimate with her. While having lunch at a restaurant one day, Edward's co-worker Bill sees Connie and Paul, but he quickly walks away in order not to get noticed. Later on, Edward invites Connie for lunch while he's at work, but she tells him she has an appointment at a beauty salon she normally goes. When Edward gets to work, he calls up the salon, but he's told that his wife had no appointment with them, and she's not also there at the moment. This gets Edward suspicious about his wife's current behavior, so he hires a private investigator to find out what his wife is up to. Meanwhile, Connie sees some of her friends while heading to Paul's apartment, so she has no option than to follow them to the cafe to have coffee. While at the cafe, Connie calls up Paul to meet her at the cafe, so they both get intimate in the bathroom. When they get back to his apartment, Connie tells Paul about her inability to take him off her mind. She tells him that they should both end their romance, but he tells her that he'll get hurt if they stop the affair. Afterwards, we see Edward scolding Bill about his attitude towards work, and then he eventually fires him. While exchanging words, Bill berates Edward for his inability to keep his family together, so this gets Edward even more suspicious about his wife. Later on, we see Connie in Paul's apartment doing their business. Afterwards, Connie oversleeps and forgets to go pick up her son from school. After picking Charlie from school, she realizes that her relationship is about to ruin her marriage, so she calls up Paul in tears. It goes into voicemail, but Charlie comes in to interrupt her. Meanwhile, the private investigator shows Edward the pictures he took while following Connie and her lover. Afterwards, we see Connie going back to Paul's apartment under the rain. She sees him with another woman entering a library, so she follows them and tries to start a fight with the woman, while being held back by Paul. When they get back to his apartment, Connie tells Paul that she is no longer interested in their romance, but he tells her she's bluffing, and then he goes on to get intimate with her. Later that day, Edward finds Paul's apartment and goes to pay him a visit. When he gets inside, he tells Paul who he is, so Paul offers him a drink, and then they both start conversing. Paul opens up about his relationship with his wife, but this only makes Edward angry. When moving around the house, He comes across a glass globe he gave to his wife for their anniversary. He asks Paul where he got the globe from, so Paul tells Edward that Connie gave it to him as a gift. This makes Edward even angrier, so he smashes Paul's head with the globe, killing him on the spot. While trying to clean up the evidence of the murder, he comes across a voicemail sent by Connie. She tells Paul that she's tired of their romance, and that she won't be seeing him anymore. Edward wipes out the message from the telephone, then he wraps Paul's body in a mat, placing him in the trunk of his car. When night comes, Edward takes the body and dumps it in a trash site, finally getting rid of any evidence that will implicate him. A few days later, a pair of policemen shows up at Edward's apartment. They ask Connie if she knows Paul, and then she tells them she only tried to buy books from him. They tell her that they found her contact and address in his apartment, and that he has been missing for days now. When she reaffirms that she doesn't know where he is, the policemen drop their contact with her, and then they leave the apartment. Afterwards, Connie goes to the kitchen and disposes the book Paul gave to her when they first met. A while later, we see Edward finding it difficult to let go of his guilt. While doing his laundry one day, Connie finds the pictures showing her and Paul together. She tries to keep it to herself for a while, but during a family dinner with her friends, she sees a globe she gave to Paul as a gift. She looks at Paul and sees him fidgeting, then she confirms that her husband was the one who murdered Paul. She confronts him after their friends leave the house, but Edward berates her for sleeping with a man outside her marriage, telling her that she's the reason he killed Paul. This sends the couple into a state of silence for a few days, with Connie refusing to tell on her husband. While burning Paul's pictures, Edward tells Connie that he wants to turn himself over to the cops, but she tells him that he shouldn't. The couple eventually agree to move to another country, changing their identity, and also looking after their son Charlie. Moral of the story: you can get a lot of people killed if you cheat on your partner. If you enjoyed the story, please subscribe to help the channel out. Also, check out our channel for more interesting stories you would like.
I grew up in a place where they told you what to chase, told you how to run the race. Every move was on the page, but I didn't like their way. Had to fight and misbehave, had to find a way to change, had to leave to find my way. Caught up in a daydream, I beat my mind up there almost daily. It's how I pass time, no opinions safely. It's how I understand what I want in this place, see. Cause everybody wanna tell you bad things, what could go wrong, what fame brings. But success is a finicky thing, and if you ain't sure, no, it'll never be. And I don't wanna let myself